Red's Fly Shop, this is Bob. How may I help you today?
Look at that. Woo! Hey, welcome back to the Red's Fly Shop channel. I'm going to take you fishing for a couple hours today. We're going to go just upstream from Red's, and I'm going to take Old Blue, this old Watermaster Kodiak that we've got here at Red's. We've got hundreds of days on this old beast, and it's still performing and going strong. Primary strategy today is I just want to catch a couple of really nice trout. I'm not too worried about how many I catch. I'm going to use my tight line rod, or one of my tight line rods. I'm going to fish this Thomas & Thomas Contact 2, and I've got my new toy here. I love this Lamson Guru E reel. It's got a big weight in there, so it balances out this 10-foot 9-inch rod really nicely. And I'm running straight mono line. That's that blue stuff that you see there, so no fly line. Of course, I got a sighter on there so I can see what I'm doing. And then my primary strategy is going to be using these little itty-bitty jig streamers. They're quite small, and so the fish may eat them as a sculpin, but they might also eat them as a big larva, a stonefly nymph. There's lots of different things that a trout can use its imagination for and fantasize about when it's gobbling that thing up, but I like fishing that thing slow and on the bottom in cold water. Heck, any water temperature. If I'm struggling and I need to refish something, I might change flies, but plan A for me is always starting with one fly so that I tangle and snag a little less. A little bit like a hunting dog, I can go get all that nervous energy out, and usually tangles happen right off the bat when I haven't adjusted to depth and speed, and I'm just kind of anxious. So I'll start with one fly. Anyway, I got this thing in my utility trailer here. I've been hauling a bunch of hay in here for my, I got some pack goats, and so I hauled some hay, but it's pretty messy. But just my little 10-foot utility trailer works perfect for this thing, and I could actually put another boat or two boats on there. I haven't hauled a Watermaster in this utility trailer before, but it seems like it's going to work pretty well. So anyway, I'm going to put my rod in here, and I'm going to get hook up with one of our staff members, and we're going to head upstream just a few miles and see if I can't dig out a couple of trout and share that with you today. Let's go fishing. Okay, so I'm just getting started here. Now, one thing about this tight line or just mono streamer fishing is I don't have to just do it like a check nymph rig or a Euro system. I just saw this little back eddy here with a bunch of foam pockets and stuff in it. It's just slack water. Let me just kind of turn the boat so you can see, but there's a big back eddy with a bunch of scum lines in there, and I can just take this streamer and I can actually just throw it right back in that slack water, which is water that gets totally overlooked when you're actually indicator fishing. So I'm just gonna let that little bugger go down and sink down there in that eddy right there. And so even though I missed one right there, it was a little late. That was my first bite. It's a little distracting. The boat's trying to float around everywhere. You're gonna hear me say this like 4 times today. There's a good fish. That self-filming is way harder than it looks. Yeah, self-filming is not the easiest thing in the world. Shit. Yeah, what was I saying about self-filming? Neither's fishing. Freaking put your lanyard in there. That fish just busted me off. That was a very nice trout. Anyway, the boat's swinging around all over the place. My camera's mounted on the boat, and the whole thing is just a mess. But God, that was a nice fish. Yeah, he just busted me clean off. I knew that was coming. Maybe I'll try to put that in slow-mo or something. Yeah, he just cracked me off. As soon as I could see it just about to close tight around my hemos. So good lesson there. I'd better make sure and put that away so I'm nice, got nice clean playing surface there. God, that was exciting though. Okay, so I missed one right before that. Let me get retied here. And when you're doing this kind of fishing in the cold, And in a boat like this, especially trying to self-film, I have a very minimal amount of gear with me. So everything I'm fishing today, I jammed into one messy ass fly box. So I just shoved all sorts of stuff right in there. Messiest fly box on planet Earth. I am putting that exact fly back on because I fished the deeper end down there. Didn't get a grab, fished for about 5 minutes. And then as soon as I got up here closer to the ledge, I had 2 grabs and 2 casts. So, and the tippet's strong enough for what I'm doing. When you're a fool and you let it get caught around your hemostats, that was a very nice fish, man. He started to just eat line, and I was trying to let him eat all the line he could and made a mistake. That happens. It's one of the downsides of mono, actually. It's the fly line itself is a little bit easier to handle. Fully preventable, though. So anyway, I'm getting this jiggy fry back on right there. But let me jump back in, and we'll get back in there, see if I can't get another fish. Just fishing that little jig fry. It's a little light. It's lighter than I would like, but the pattern just gets bit. I might work up a little further. And then when I come back down, I'll swap. There's a good fish. Man, that's a nice one. Not as big as the last one, but woo-hoo. Still a good fish, but it's still not as big as that. Oh my gosh, he came unpinned. He came unpinned. I mean, he just came unhooked. Holy crap, that was a hot fish. I didn't see the jump on video. It was like, I don't know, that long, but that first one was, I mean, unstoppable. That was pretty sweet. Getting my butt kicked by these trout, though. All right, let's jump back in here and see if we can't hook another one. Make sure my fly's okay. He didn't break off. He just, I could feel him. He ended up, oh, I got some weeds from behind me there. Yeah, I just felt him. He just torqued off of there and came unpinned. These are pretty good hooks, but that's still the deal when you're fishing barbless hooks. So. Come on. They like that fly today. Okay, at the end, I'm just going to turn my rod in. And one thing I'm going to add here is, this is one downside of mono. It does have some memory. You just take and stretch it. It's worse when it's cold. Just stretch it. Like that. Just takes a sec. I should have done that right at the beginning. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. That should go in the blooper reel of all blooper reels. Holy cow. I do everything right so many times and lose all the fish. And then literally, my fly dropped into the seam right here and was dragging downstream. That's ridiculous. I should edit that up and make myself look like a hero. Not nearly as big. Oh, but I'll take that. That's a great trout. Look at that. Look at that guy. Man. They like that fly today. Look at that guy. Okay, I'll just let him go. You saw evidence that there was a fish, and you saw how skillfully I was able to catch it. That was ridiculous. That was absolutely the luckiest thing that ever could have happened. Showing you how to stretch your line and end up with a bite. These fish are biting. Okay, I'm gonna add, I fished this pretty good. I hooked 3 fish. But I want to add a midge or small nymph now. So I'm going to add it quite a ways above. I get this real light jig streamer. It doesn't weigh much on there. And I'm going to add a nymph up in here in my line. And that can be kind of awkward to do. So I'm just going to show you just how I would do it. I don't need that tag very long. I might want it like 6 inches. But I'll get maybe 12 to 16 inches to tip it out just because I'm going to utilize some of it in my knot tying process and see if I can keep the boat from drifting around here. So I'm going to go up about 16 to 18 inches above my streamer. There's my streamer. And I'm just going to go for a triple surgeons, but I'm going to make the loop really big. And I'm actually just going to take my streamer right through there once. It is pretty awkward, but It's the most efficient way I found if you don't have a bumper, like a triple surgeon's knot or something already in the line to work with. Twice. And then we'll go through a third time, just like that. And so now that I fished it once and kind of worked out my nervous energy and busted one fish off, yeah, that's right. Okay, so give that knot a kiss, and then I'll cinch it up, and then I've got a little tag line here that I'm gonna put a midge pattern on, because that's my go-to for today. So anyway, that's how I add that second fly. All right, so when a fish bites a little midge like that, I didn't react. I probably didn't spook them. They obviously spit it out. But you can go back to that fish again. You have a very good chance of getting that fish on another cast here. There he is. There he is. Good fish. Good fish. Okay, keep your line organized this time. That's a nice trout. Yeah. Okay, see if I can keep this one on. Oh my gosh, so wish I had a full film crew here, because that jump was insane. Jump like 5 feet in the air. Okay, stay out of the weeds, dude. There's some weeds in this back eddy behind me. So I'm gonna coax him back out. That's a good fish. I'm stoked right now. I'm upstairs. Yeah, I'm stoked. My last few outings, I've been trying to film stuff, and I've just had, it's been really good fishing for like the first few minutes a couple times, and then it just dies, and I don't really get anything that I want to share. And a lot of times I just haven't had time to get out. I try to go out and fish for 30, 40 minutes and make something happen, and that's unrealistic. So this is good to get out and actually get a good bite today. Beautiful trout. Oh my gosh. Oh, don't you do that. Don't you go over there. It's so nice about these long technical rods. This thing's almost 11 feet long, and it's a 2-weight, so it absorbs a lot of those initial runs, you know. He's still got some fire in his belly here. Oh my gosh. You know, he's a nice fish. Really nice fish. Oh, come on back. God, he's got a lot of fight to him. I don't know if you can see how hard I'm pulling on this thing, but I'm like right at breaking that line. Arm's actually getting tired. Okay, come on, come back. But he's still not even as big as the first one I had. This is a hell of a fish. Hell of a trout. Okay, oh, and he's on the midge. He's on that midge. The fly change worked. He's back on this side now. Okay, we just got to go for it at some point. Come on. Oh man, that's a nice one. That's the nicest fish I've caught in a while. Holy moly, that's heavy. Midge right in the upper lip. Great, great trout. Beautiful fish. Look at that. Get him out of that net. Nice. That's pretty satisfying, because he ate that midge. That was an adjustment I made. I saw some midge out here, and I saw a fish or two kind of boil at him, but yeah, switched up that midge, perfectly hooked to the upper lip, and I'm certain that fish ate, either the cast or two before it, but I've seen that on those. Like if I get the bite and I feel like the fish it's just boom, and the fish is gone, a lot of times I don't even set. I just let it kind of wander through, so I don't risk scaring any more fish than I have to. I went right back to him a couple casts later. Bam, nailed him. Beautiful fish. Again, still not like that first one that wrapped around my lanyard. That thing was, that fish was insane. I haven't seen a fish like that on the river in a while. So anyway, we're gonna keep picking on the spot, see if we can't get a few more. Oh man, screwed that one up. That's 2 strikes in a row. I just absolutely didn't set the hook. I got the yips or something. right now. I don't know why. The first one was, I don't know, for a little quick. That second one was, the fish was blatantly on and I didn't do anything. Still enjoying that nice one I caught, I guess. Now when you get to the end of a there he is. Okay, that was a light tap. That wasn't my fault, folks. That one was just on and gone. So when you get, like, I love fishing those little tiny buggers. But one thing to know about those little tiny buggers is just because it's coming tight at the end doesn't mean it's done. You know, like right in, oh yeah, that was good. That's dope right there. That is just straight dopamine. So I was just letting that, I was just explaining, like with that streamer, like there's a break point. Like, so the moment that streamer breaks from the bottom and starts to rise and come up, there's like, that break point varies based on where I'm standing and how much line I have and all of that. Nice fish, not quite as big as that last one. But like with that streamer, like you want to be very diligent about like letting that break point, you know, again, where that thing comes off the bottom, letting it come up very gracefully. And it's very important. And a lot of times when you're just fishing, you know, nymphs and larva-based flies, not a big deal. You know, when it's kind of done, when it's out of contact, it's out of contact. But I just find when that streamer's on there, you know, that break point is really important to, yeah, solid fish. That break point is really important, and I'm not putting it in the live well. There's actually it's open water in the boat right here, just in case you're wondering. That probably looks a little weird on video. But yeah, when that streamer, that little tiny itty bitty, when it, right where it breaks free from the bottom, like let it end gracefully, pay attention to that. And a lot of times I'll turn my rod in, and I call that cross leading. And what I'm trying to do is get that, the fly's gonna break off the bottom, but like right when it's breaking, if I can get it to give it a side profile, I might be able to cover a few more feeding lanes all at once. And I think that's really important at the end of the presentation with that rig. Midge, that olive and black zebra midge over them again and again and again. I'm gonna get a bite right here, I think. I can just sense it. There he is, got him. Got him. Golly, oh. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good head shake. Oh, I can tell. That's 16.5 inches. I can tell by the head shake. Oh, God, that felt good. Yeah, that's a nice trout. He's not fighting as hard as that last one I got in the net, and still not like that first one that busted me off. But I just feel that one coming. There's something about, you know, like this tight line nipping, I'm not doing it because I catch a bazillion fish, although I might get to a million today at the rate things are going. But seriously, I don't do it because I catch more fish. I feel that bite. Like that's just a good hit. Like I'm connected to that trout instantly. There's none of those slack line hook sets, and I'm not opposed to indicator fishing. If you follow the channel, you'll know I do my indicator thing too, but you have to understand, like, that's fun. Like, that's really fun being perfectly connected to the trout instantly. Oh, this one might be bigger. Might be bigger. That's a heck of a fish. He's on the streamer. Let's see if we can get him here. Let me see if I can get the camera in a way. Self-filming is tough. Oh, you're all gonna know where I'm at. There's gonna be 100 people here fishing tomorrow. I don't know if they'll be biting like this tomorrow. Come on, trout. Oh yeah, look at that guy. God, that's a fish right there. Yeah, I might have underestimated this. Oh no, yeah, that's heavy. That's a nice one. Beautiful fish. Yeah, there he goes. That's what it's all about right there. All right, let's see if we can keep the streak alive. This has been a pretty good spot so far. All right, I'm gonna start, I worked up to the top and kind of harvested what was available, but it seemed like most of my bites were starting to come at the very end of my drift, so I'm gonna work back down through, and I'm just gonna kind of fish a little further out on my way down. So generally I'll work up the close seams, you know, real close to me to make sure anything that's in tight quarters here, I really want to, like, you know, suss out the enemy line right here in front of me. And then as I work down, I'll actually fish further out. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I'm not going to change flies. These flies both work well. And maybe if I didn't have this boat with me, and I love having the Watermaster boat. There's a fish, got him, nice. That was solid. As soon as I moved back down, I think I found the epicenter of them right here. I think I found their den. So I'm gonna look and kind of make a landmark on the shore right here, just in case I kind of get disoriented moving around and fishing around. But I think this is the spot. Again, midge fish, saved by the midge, another solid fish, just like that. Oh, he got a few weeds in there. Oh, I'm incorrect. He ate the streamer. Yeah, there was some weeds. There was a little weeds on the midge, and it made it look like the streamer was flopping around, but yeah, okay. Well, I don't know if the midge hatch is ending or not, but I like to, like if I'm waiting or something and I get more hookups in one spot, I'll usually kind of pick two landmarks, you know, across from each other on the bank, and then I know that's the pot of fish. Today the bite's really good, so it's not as important, but if the bite was really slow and I get a bite or two in one spot, I want to be able to go work around, and then maybe if I don't get anything, I'll come back to that one spot. It's really hard to read the water in this low flat light right now, but that must be why they're kind of parked on this spot. They're just above the ledge. There's a good grab and a good fish. Oh, he's not quite as big as I thought. He's a nice trout, but good strike. Really good strike. That was sweet. I am loving this reel. This thing is so nice and smooth and even. I probably need to loosen that drag up a little bit. He's pulling pretty hard, but yeah, for mono, that full containment is essential, in my opinion. You wind up just screwing around a lot. You don't have it. Look at this, I'm getting a lot of practice this today. Of course, I screwed up as soon as I said that. All right, another solid trout. I haven't even really moved. Midge fish. Got hooked right in the upper lip. Yeah, another super trout here on the Yakima River, here in the canyon. Ah, that was great. I'm gonna get one more here, and then we're gonna go move to another spot. But yeah, it's been a super day so far. We can have a really good fishing. I mean, there's snow on top the hills up here. It's late November. We can have amazing fishing this time of year, and I'm literally the only person that I've seen on the river, not just in this area, but driving up and down the canyon today. There's nobody out. We don't even have a guide out today. It's amazing. It's such good fishing, for crying out loud. Hey, I kind of like having it to myself. I should start making fishing videos on how bad the fishing is this time of year instead. Keep it for myself. All right, the fish are getting harder to catch. I think I've sore lipped about half of them in here. I want to get one more though. I want to get one more. They're moving. I think they're moving around a little bit today too. I don't think they're just necessarily sitting in one spot. We had this warm, cloudy day or night. So the fish are getting a little bit pickier now. I'm still not going to change flies, because all I have to do is to get fresh fish is just jump in this thing and I can float downstream 100 feet. But fish are getting a little bit pickier. So I'm really going to work on getting that thing on the floor and really slowing that midge down. So really paying attention to how I dip that fly in and get it set up. And I think I did it again. I think I wandered out too far. I think the fish are right under my rod tip now that I start looking at it. You always get excited and start fishing too far, it seems like. This has been an incredible spot, but there are more like it. You got to be here right day, right time, right fly, right presentation, There's a lot of things that have to align to have a good day of trout fishing. But the main thing is you just got to be here. You got to go. You never know what's going to happen. There he is, got him. Nice, nice. Oh, that was a really good one. Okay, I'm gonna move down. I'm gonna move to another spot. I'm gonna leapfrog down closer to reds, and we're just gonna keep running that same game. I haven't even lost a fly yet. I haven't tangled yet. It's been really efficient. I got that little zebra midge on there doing most of my work now. And again, I started with just a single fly, just so I could kind of get in the water and kind of get loose and make sure and kind of shake off my anxious energy. So anyway, I'm gonna got to put my camera away, and then I'm gonna jump in the rower seat, move down to another spot. So I'm floating down the Yakima River Canyon here, and it can be really hard to read this river. You know, the bottom is really all the same color, and it can be really difficult for folks, especially in this low light. Better take a few oar strokes here so I can get into my spot, but especially in low light, it can be really hard to read this river. And you have to look, you know, from a distance. So like you can't, it's not gonna show up great on video, but you're looking for little areas where it's going downhill and then topographically it flattens. And that's the best way I found to read the canyon, is if you wait until you're like right on the spot, and this can be true of walking, driving, or floating. But if you wait until you're like right on the spot to try to read it, it's gonna make it more difficult. I'm trying to row, I'm trying to record, I'm trying to do everything, but it can make it more difficult. So what I like to do is I like to look, you know, from a longer distance, and what I've got here is I've got an area where I can see the river going downhill pretty good. There's a little bit more surface chop, and then topographically I can see there's like a bench in the terrain, like right here. And so where that bench is, there's definitely gonna be a little bit deeper water or a deeper spot there. And right at the head of that bench, so the river's going downhill, 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 like right where my hand is. And then right there, it flattens topographically. And that's for today's conditions, these cold water conditions. Water's maybe 40 degrees. It's been very cold. That's gonna be my spot that I wanna hit, is that area where it flattens topographically. So I'm gonna kinda, I got my boat in here. You know, I'm standing on the ground, I'm knee deep, and I'm gonna kind of sneak in like this, and then I'm gonna fish out to that spot right in there. Tell you, it is so nice wading in this boat. There's a good fish. First cast in this little bucket right here. Man, these fish are on today. He's taking a little line. He's taking a little line there. Right on. Excellent. God, that's fun. This is a nice tight line grab. I can hear chucker. For those that don't know what a chucker is, it's a partridge. It's a game bird. They live by a lot of names. The red-legged devil, but they live in like really steep, rocky terrain. I'm an avid chucker hunter, and I can hear the chucker right now behind me. One of my sons is out bird hunting today. He chose bird hunting over fly fishing today. I don't blame him. These are tough decisions. So yeah, fish picked up that little midge. Oh, he's already unhooked. Love it. So anyway, another solid trout. Let him go right in there. We'll wait until we get a big one, and then we'll show you what we're catching. But yeah, knock on wood, but my rig is not, I haven't had to repair one single thing on my rig yet. Lucky me. That's the thing, is people think this kind of fishing, that it's always going to be tangles and snags. It starts out that way, just like fly fishing was when you started fly fishing. But once you're tuned in, you don't snag and you don't lose very many flies. It's actually a very clean operation. Boy, that's a slow presentation. I am right on the bottom, and I'm not snagging or anything. Clean. Okay, I'm gonna move up and out just a little bit. I see so when you're in these mixed boulders, you know, it's not possible for me to show a man fish, but If you see little glassy area, there's a fish. If you see little glassy areas hidden within all those boulders and that kind of that turbulent water out there, a common term for that is called a slick, you know, where there's just a little bit of rolling glass. And those are great holding lies for trout when they're in swifter currents. So if you can really target those slicks, those little glassy areas, and that rolling glass will kind of move from time to time. It'll appear for a moment, and then it'll disappear. But when you see those areas of rolling glass through there, sometimes it takes you quite a few casts to get it just right, because you got to get it exactly in there. But those are the areas you want to target. Those slick areas, you know, where there's a glassy surface. And they're usually created by one big boulder, but the slick might be 15, 20, 30, even 40 feet downstream if it's a major boulder in big current. So those slicks might not be right at the boulder. God, this chucker are going crazy behind me. Should have thrown my shotgun in. That'd have been a great day. Okay, I'm right in that slick now. That feels pretty fishy. Right on the bottom, come on. Give me some. Give me some. Okay, I'm gonna throw a couple more casts in this spot and then move down. Oh, I'm up on top of a boulder now. This is kind of handy. I can get a really good high stick angle. That helped. Just getting up about a foot helped tremendously. There's fish, good fish. Oh boy. I say that, they're all good fish. I don't care if it's a 10-incher or an 18-incher. Oh, he's almost jumping in the boat. 10 inches, 18 inches, I don't care. Big ones are great, but every trout is cool. Every single one of them. Which one did he eat? Yeah, and he was buried right in that slick. It took me, you could tell, you know, I was excited about that spot, but it still took me quite a few casts to get it just right. Yeah, nice, solid little fish. 11-incher. Yeah, it still took me quite a few casts to get it just right out there in that slick, because there's a lot of currents, a lot of action happening and stuff in there. So when you see those slicks, just because you don't get a bite the first couple times through, sometimes you just have to catch the right draft to guide that fly through there. And boy, that one ate the streamer. That thing's getting pretty torn up. I'm just gonna keep fishing it though. My hands are kind of cold. I don't really feel like trying to change flies. I didn't bring any gloves today. I've just been putting my hands in my pockets every once in a while just to kind of bring them back to life, but they're getting kind of wet now. But yeah, those slicks are good. Just, you know, keep working on them again and again and again until you get it just right. I'm gonna hop back up on that rock that I was standing on and see if I can't get another one out of there. There he, oh, good. Oh. Lost him. Recording. Yeah, you saw that one got away. I am wading out here very deep. I got my jacket over my waders, which was stupid. I should have tucked my jacket inside because I think the bottom of my jacket's starting to get a little bit wet. But yeah, this hole, for some reason, I'm wading out a little bit deeper and I'm getting more bites. I got one right away in close. Okay, let me see if I can get another one here. I'm fishing a little bit beyond that slick now. There's a drop off out there, and I can see there's a drop off just by reading the surface currents. I think that's something that just kind of comes with experience, but there are days, you know, that you can learn on the river. You know, don't get so fish focused, you know, especially on days where maybe you're not catching a lot, that you don't just continue to learn and really like understanding surface currents on a clear sunny day where you can see all the drop-offs and see the bottom. Those are days when you kind of like to learn and study the surface currents so that when you get out on a really fishy day that's dark and low light, oh, that's the drop-off. I'm not going out there. Holy moly. That thing just plummets. I am right on ledge. This is way deeper than I thought, needless to say. But yeah, on a day where it's like you can see the bottom and see all the drop-offs, start paying attention to what the surface currents are doing. I'm gonna really get deep this time. That's way deeper in that bucket than I realized. Okay, I'm wading deeper than I want to here. I'm gonna move downstream. That was a pretty good spot, but use those opportunities when you're out fishing to learn how the surface currents look in relation to the depth, and you'll be able to read water in canyons like this where that are just naturally hard to read, and in times of low light like today. Like I can show you, what I'm casting into, but it's so dark you're not going to be able to see it really well. But I can just tell by the nature of the surface currents here, there's a little bit bigger chop and it's decelerating, so it's really fast up here with less chop, and then it's choppier and a little slower right here, which tells me I've got a little bit of a bucket right in there. So, and that's where the trout are holding, is right there in that bucket. But I'm gonna move downstream to a little easier spot to wade. I'm up almost to my waist and getting kind of cold. There's a fish. Okay, there was a fish. So I kind of worked down this whole thing and I finally got my first bite right here. So I'm gonna put the brakes on because I'd be willing to bet there's a group of fish. I'm in a long pool here, and sometimes in the cold weather season, these inside ledges, there's a spring, like, spring coming in or something right there. For whatever reason, the fish love to group up kind of in one spot. And I may have been a recipient of that knowledge this morning in my first spot. Well, it wasn't really morning, it was like an hour ago. But I'm gonna be very diligent here for a couple of casts because I did have a good grab right in there. And usually those fish are in a group right in that same spot. I'm gonna creep just a little bit because I'm gonna throw back up to it. But once you get one bite in these big long pools, like focus on that one spot for a little bit. Don't get too crazy, don't move around, and then don't make a lot of noise. Sometimes you gotta let that spot cool down after hook set. So I'm gonna give it a break just for a few seconds and then go back in. Sink, 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 sink. Get my sighter up, try to get that fly down, get in contact with the bottom. It's pretty deep in there. It's kind of hard to get that fly down. There's a grab. There we go. So exactly on the spot that I thought it was gonna be. So that's good. It's starting to rain a little bit and getting chilly. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna last out here. I think I got my fix. I got enough fish today. I'm feeling pretty satisfied. Ate that midge, old 10 incher or so. It's a nice trout. Did he come unhooked already? I think he did. Oh, I love that. A good barbless hook. I mean, earlier I got one that the hook didn't want to come out, but for the most part, the hook's just been falling right out. Of course, I got a little tangle right there, a little bonus, but totally worth it. So let me sort this out and might try to get another trout or two, but if it keeps raining, I think I might just float on into reds and warm up my hands and my body. That pool was a really long pool, and it's a very good spot, but I didn't have the right strategy for that particular spot there. And so you kind of have to pick and choose, water that best suits your presentation. I like stuff with a little harder, for this kind of nymphing, I like stuff with a little harder drops or like very specific spots that I can read and I know that I've got kind of a captive audience. There are a lot of fish in those big wide open pools and you can do very well in there, but those are better for like a long cast and swinging a streamer across where the trout's gonna see it coming from a long ways away. But like in the real open water, the tight line nymphing or tight lining, it's not really nymphing because I got a little streamer on there, right? But tight lining can be a disadvantage because I have a pretty short range, so I think a lot of the fish can actually see the fly hit. They can see it kind of sink down, and then it kind of taps the bottom, and you'll get a few doing that. But it's not the most advantageous situation there. An indicator is often better because you can throw a pretty long cast upstream, get it set up, and then bring that indicator and that presentation through for a longer period of time. It's raining pretty good. I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna throw some casts through like a couple more spots and then wrap it up. But I'm only gonna stop in spots where I think I got a chance at a pretty big trout. So I'm gonna get like a harder ledge or harder seam, and I've got a couple spots down here that I think might do that. So anyway, stay tuned. And the temperature's probably about, I don't know, it's just barely over freezing. It might be 35. I'm gonna fish one more spot and call it good. So I got a slick picked out here where there's a rock. I haven't fished this spot yet this fall, but it should be pretty good. Oh, I thought that was gonna be a fish. So fortunately I got out of there unscathed, didn't lose a fly. But I have not fished this spot yet this fall. There's a nice slick out there. The water was so low this year, there's, you know, even after spending a lot of time on this river, you're still kind of learning and reading, you know, new spots. A lot of the spots we historically fished just didn't have enough water in them, but oh, it's been a super day. The only mistake I made was just doing way too long of a float. I floated, you know, it'll be a total of about 2 miles. I'm just upstream from Reds right now. And even 2 miles was just way too far. You really have to go slow and find groups of fish and then really work on them and pick them apart. Even if I hadn't had good fishing, I mean, even if the fishing had been really slow, I would have needed that extra time. So even 2 miles was just too much water. You need to be able to change flies. You need to be able to, okay, there, that felt like a bite right there. I was a little sluggish. I didn't want to commit. Because every time you set the hook, you're at risk of spooking fish in that surrounding area. So I kind of like to know, either feel it. Snagged again. There's some sticks in there. Okay, if this breaks off, I'm done. And I lost my streamer, which is the one that matters. I'm done. Okay, so I know my hands are super wet and cold from this rain. Thanks so much for coming on the adventure today. Follow the channel for more fishing adventures, and I hope you guys learn plenty. And as always, we love your business. Shop at Red's Fly Shop. If you don't already, thanks for tuning in, and hang in there.